Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you can all hear me. Okay. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Once again, you are welcome. We are continuing our discussion and our learning of Nahu. We are coming to the closing sessions today, inshallah, and tomorrow. Would have been done with the major concepts of basic Nahu as well as the intermediate level that will give you a total spectacle of what Nahu is made up of, from the word to the sentence level. Last week, we discussed sentences in all that it has, Jumla Ismiya and Jumla Fi'liya. And we took some concepts also that are very important in understanding the language. Concepts like Kana and the sisters, which we said are fails, but they behave like essence in that they are always with Jumla Ismiya. And we did mention that because they are fails, so they behave or they have attributes of fail, and that they can be Madi, Mudari, or Amr, and all the harfs that go into fails can also go into Kana and the sisters. And Kana and the sisters, when they apply to Jumla Ismiya, as usual, they affect only the khabar. That's what should be understood. They affect the khabar instead of a mubtada khabar being rafa. Kana and the sisters will make the khabar nas. And so we call the mubtada ism kana and then the khabar kana. Okay. Now, today we're going to discuss a very important concept, and after that we're going to take some a lot of exercises, and then we wrap up with certain information or general information that we need to know about the course generally. And then tomorrow, inshallah, we'll take some tidbits on how to use a little bit of technology in terms of virtual learning for some of you who would like to adapt teaching Arabic or teaching Islamic studies online. There are some of the things that we'd like to share with you, inshallah, tomorrow. That brings an end to the course for the third time, alhamdulillah. Okay, now one concept that we are going to discuss today is the concept of shart. Now, what is shart? Shart is a condition. So let's say a jumla shartiya, a conditional statement. Now, conditional statement mainly has to do with an expression that you do in Arabic of two different fi'ls happening in one sentence, two fi'ls in one sentence. When the first sentence is prerequisite to the happening of the second sentence. So the second fi'l, I should say. If you say, for instance, if you learn, you would pass your exams. If you learn, you will pass your exam. So the if-then sentence is known as Jumla Shartiyya. When it happens like this, we have what is known as Fa'il Shart and Jawab Shart. Fa'il Shart and Jawab Shart. Now, what is Fa'il? You know what the Fa'il is? The Fa'il of the Shart. Okay? That's the conditional statement itself. And then the resultant or the implication of the fi'l shart is the jawab shart. This concept is very important because when it happens that way, we would learn that there are certain harfs or tools that are used to instigate or trigger shart. Anywhere you see them, you know that they are shart tools. Therefore, they have to apply, right? So those harfs, we need to learn them and then learn what they mean and learn how they apply. But the most important thing is to understand that there is something called fi'l shart and jawab shart. Now, what does fi'l shart and jawab shart do is that they give you a concept of two statements, as I said at the beginning, one dependent on the other, but also additionally a harf or certain harfs that we need to know that denote the conditional statement or jumla ash-shartiyya. Okay. And then we have another kind of short statement that necessarily does not really need those tools or those harfs. And in that case, it's an amr command, an amr fail, and then it's jaza, okay, where in the Quran certain commands are given, and then Allah will tell us that when we do that, we'll get, this, or will not get that. And that's also known as fil amr and jaza al-amr. We'll look at that one also shortly. So that will conclude the whole of the concept. And then we will look at some of the summaries that comes with this particular course. And we'll do some exercises today. So get ready, inshallah. Okay. Now let me share the slides. If I can have it here. Okay. Slides. Okay. But definitely none of what we have learned should be forgotten, because we will try our hands on them, inshallah, this morning. But let's just take this quick one, and then we would do some exercises from the beginning, inshallah. A lot of that we'll do today, inshallah. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen, please? Can you see my screen? Assalamu alaikum. Okay, very good. Now, jumla shartiyya. Jumlatun shartiyya. Who can tell me what concept is this? What concept is jumla shartiyya? According to your learning of Nahu, which concept applies here? Absolutely, it's mawsuf sifa. أي هذه جملة شرطية. So this jumla will be خبر لمبتدأ محذوف تقديره هذه جملة, and then شرطية becomes the صفة. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, Aisha. A conditional statement, that's jumla shartiyya, can be defined as the if-then statement. Okay, so if-then statement. In Arabic, we call it if-then. It has two parts, shart and jawab shart. What is shart? Shart is the condition. Now this shart will comprise of a fail, and this jawab will also comprise of a fail. Okay, and of course when you say jawab, you know what jawab means. I mean, even in Hausa I say jawabi. Okay, the answer to the fail. Okay, and this is the answer to the condition or the consequence or resultant of the condition. Okay, so we have the condition and we have its answer. Okay, good. For instance, if Fatima goes, then Ahmad will go. If Fatima goes, in dhahabat, or in tadhab, sorry, in tadhab Fatima, يذهب أحمد. In تذهب فاطمة, يذهب أحمد. Now, what it says here is that this if and then, between them are these fi'ls and the doers, right? Of course, anytime we say fi'l, we mean the fi'l and the fa'il, right? And that is why it's absolutely not correct to be teaching Arabic, for instance, and tell the learner there's a verb. There's nothing like verb in Arabic, really. There is fi'l. We have mentioned and stated this clearly that there cannot be a verb in Arabic, but there can be a fi'l in Arabic, because fi'l is more than just the verb, right? Good. In the above statement, Ahmad will only go if Fatima goes. So this particular statement after the comma is dependent on that. Therefore, the condition is Fatima goes, and the consequence is Ahmad will also go. So we call this a short or fi'l short. You can call it fi'l short, okay? And then this jawab a short, okay? Very good. In classical Arabic, when I say classical Arabic, we mean the Lugha Arabiya al-Fusha. The lightest form of fi'l is used to communicate short. What is lightest? Lightest means majzoom, okay? The jazm fi'l, okay? The lightest, that means the fi'l with the sukun. You remember fi'l with fatha, we say it's light, and fi'l with sukun, we say it's lightest. And mainly we are talking about fi'l mudari. Good. So the latter form of the fi'l is used to communicate a short and its jawab. Okay, for instance, yazhab, sorry, in tazhab Fatimatu, yazhab Ahmad. Now note, I'm saying yes, tazhab and yazhab. Why tazhab? Because I'm talking about Fatima, even though I cannot bring Fatima here because I'm looking at jumla fi'liya. Okay, so I will say in tazhab Fatimatu, Fatima. Here is the fa'il of tazhab. Okay, don't forget that, right? Yazhab is another fa'il. So we say this is a jumla and this is a jumla. So this is the first jumla and this is the second jumla. Anytime you see fa'il, you can confidently say that there is a jumla. Anytime you see another fa'il is detached from the fa'il of the first one. So two fa'ils cannot be in a sentence. They can only be separate jumlas because each fa'il has a fa'il in it, right? Good. Yazhab Ahmad, in this case, Ahmad is the fa'il of yazhab. That's why you have ya, and then nothing is at the end. Huwa yazhabu, and here tazhab. Okay. Notice that both of the af'al, okay, that's tazhab and yadhab, are all in jazm. Okay, they are all majzoom, or they are lightest form. Okay, to indicate a condition. Now let's look at an example from the Quran. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, in tansurullaha yansurkum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum. Note here, in tansuru Allah yansur. So you see the lightest. You are yuthabbit. So you see the lightest. Of course, this one is also lightest by dropping of the noon. You remember that all those that are having the noon at the end, when you make them lightest, you drop the noon. So in here makes this lightest, and the noon is the one that is dropped here. Here, what makes it lightest is the sukun, because there is no ending combination. Sorry, there is no noon here at the end. And the same thing here is that bit, okay? And so Allah says, oh, you who believe, if you support Allah, He will support you. Now note, if you support Allah, He will support you. So this can only happen. This can only happen if that happens. Okay? This can only happen if that happens. And so we say, if you support Allah is the shart or fi'l shart, and then He will support becomes the jawab shart. Okay? So that is the concept that we are sharing here. Now, so in tansurullah is the shart, and then yansurkum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum becomes the jawab al-shart. Of course, here somebody will say, why is it not in yansurkum faqat or alone? But because the wa here is atifa, and atifa means what is behind it takes the same rule as what is before it. Okay, and so that's why both of them can be the jawab shart. Okay, now notice that yansur and tansuru and yusabbit are all majzoom. It means they are having lightest as the sign at the end. Additional example: وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Okay, so here it says وَإِن تُطِعْ. So تُطِعْ, the تُطِعْ here is fi'l, and the in is what caused that. You remember your in lam lamma wal falli. In lam, in and lam and lamma, wal and fal, and they cause the fi'l mudhari to become lightest. But in is one of the shart words. In this case, it's one of the words or harfs that can trigger the conditional statement. So here it's used, and then the fi'l mudhari here is lightest. Okay, and the dua is always anta here. أكثر من في الأرض يُضِلُّوكَ عن سبيل الله. Okay, so يُضِلُّ is another fi'l, and it is also lightest. But zoom, this would be بحذف النون. That means by dropping of the nun. Okay, يُضِلُّوكَ عن سبيل الله. See, so in the case of this, if you want to do the i'rab, all you have to do is to say this atifa, this in is shartiya and jazm. Means it's conditional as well as lightest. So you can say it's a conditional and lightest harf. Okay, tuti is fi'l mudara majzoom. It's just majzoom be in. Okay, this is the in that caused the jazm, and the sign of jazm here is the lightest, sukun. Walamat jazmi as sukun. Okay, and the dua inside the fi'l is anta. Okay, akthar is maf'ul. Okay, man fil ard. Man fil ard. Man here is mawsuliya. Okay, and it is مضاف إلى أكثر. Sorry, مضاف إليه لأكثر, and then is في محل جر of course. And then في الأرض جار ومجرور MBF متعلق بالفعل, and it is also صلة to the man, which means الذي. Okay, so the whole of this sentence here, جملة فعلية, is not considered جملة شرطية. Okay, now note, when we say jumla shartiya is a concept, but it is not a component. A lot of the time we miss this point. When we say ماذا تحتويه الجملة الفعلية, what does جملة فعلية contain? It's always فعل فاعل مفعول or MBF in some cases. Okay, but the concept of shart and the concept of, as we mentioned before, idafa, the concept, all of those concepts are to be known, but you don't consider them as components, you know, of the sentence. You know, you don't necessarily always have to have, for instance, a shart in a sentence, right? You don't necessarily have to have idafa in a sentence or mawsuf sifa in a sentence, you know. But anytime you have a jumla fi'liya, you might have a fi'l and a fa'il. So that's why we say these are the mahal fil i'rab. Okay. Then يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. The same thing here, يُضِلُّهُم. The dua here is ka is maf'ul bihi mabni al-fatha fi ma'al nasb, and then عن سبيل is another jar majrur, and b f متعلق بالفعل, سبيل is مضاف, Allah is مضاف ilayh. It is jawab shart. Okay. Another one says وَإِن تُطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَا يَلِدْكُمْ. Have you seen that? So you see how you are able to detect where the fi'l shart ends and where the jawab shart also starts. In tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu. If da 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 da, then da 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 da. Okay, so that's how you are able to detect where it starts and where it ends. Wa in tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu. In shartiyah wa atifa. In is shartiyah. Tuti'u is fil mudari' lightest. and the dua is tu'ti utu. Ta and uda is what? Antum. Antum. Allah is maf'ul bihi. Wa is atifa Rasul is ma'tuf ala Allah. Same, so it's still the same ruling. Anytime you see wa, look at before it, you see that it will always follow the same rule. And then Rasul is mudaf and is mudaf ilayhi. As we said, every pronoun attached to an ism is mudaf ilayhi. And after you have done that i'rab, then you say the whole of this jumla is fairly short. Okay, sorry, yes, it's short, short, and then la yalitkum, la yalitkum. Okay, la here is nafiya. Note, it's not la nahiya. This is not a forbidden la. This is the la for negation. Yalitkum is fil mudara, lightest. What caused this lightest is this in. It's not la. Okay, it's this in that caused this lightest. Yalitkum. Okay, min a'malikum shay'an. So yalitkum, yalit, the dua is huwa. Okay, kum is mabni, is a pronoun attached to this. Mabni ala sukun fi mahal nasb. So this is nasb status because it is an attached pronoun. Any attached pronoun to a fi'l is maf'ul. Any attached pronoun to an ism is mudaf ilayhi. Don't forget that. Okay, min a'mali jar wa majrur muta'alliqun bil fi'l. And then a'mali is mudaf, kum is mudaf ilayhi. Shay'an is maf'ul hal. Okay, so the whole of that becomes jawab ash-shart. Another one here says wa in ya'tukum usara tufaduhum. Wa in ya'tukum. So you see, if you are looking for fi'l shart and jawab shart, all you have to look for is, after you have seen your in, now look at the fi'ls. One fi'l here, two fi'l. So where the first fi'l starts the fi'l shart, or starts the shart statement itself, and where another fi'l starts again, the marks where the jawab shart starts. Okay, so wa in ya'tukum usara. Okay, wa in ya'tukum usara, then tufaduhum. In shartiyya, ya'tu is fil mudara and ya'tu is hum. Hum ya'tu. So the dua here is what? Hum. Kum is maf'ul bihi. How do I know? Because it's attached to a fi'l. Okay. Halata qawlihim usara. Usara is maf'ul hal. Tufadu is fil mudara. Again, lightest because of the in shartiyya. Tufadu. And then the dua here is antum, and hum is mabni ala sukun fi mahal nasb maf'ul bihi. This one is also and in nasb status. Why? Because it's attached to a fi'l. Okay. And then we look at the man and ma. You remember we took man and ma in our last week, and we mentioned that man and ma can mean alladhi, right? Man and ma can mean alladhi, and there we do the i'rab fi mahal for them. Now man and ma are here again. Now look at how they are used here also for conditional statements. So man and ma are very key words. Another example of conditional statement is with the word man. You can use man instead of in, okay, which means however, and sorry, whoever, and ma, which means whatever. So this is used for intelligible beings, and then this is used for unintelligible beings. Okay. Just as with the word in, there will be a condition and an answer. Let us look at the example. Man yazhab yuflih. Man yazhab. So you see, this, the lightest fi'l mudara. Yes, yuflih. Another lightest fi'l mudara. That tells you that this man is man shartiyya. Okay, man shartiyya. Okay, of course it means it's mawsuliyya shartiyya. Okay, it's mawsul because it means can mean alladhi. So alladhi yazhab yuflih. Okay, so man yazhab is fi'l shart or shart, and then yuflih becomes the jawab ash-shart. Okay, of course in this case when I say fi'l shart jawab ash-shart, I'm not doing the i'rab. I'm just telling you that there's a concept of shart here. For me to do the i'rab, I will say man is mubtada. Okay, man is ismul mawsul. Man bima'na alladhi, mawsuliyya bima'na alladhi, mabniyun ala sukun fi mahall rafa mubtada. So this mubtada because it's an ism. Okay, it's mubtada in rafa status fi mahall rafa. Yazhab is fi'l mudara and the dua is huwa. So the fi'l and the fa'il is in the status of rafa, becomes the khabar. Okay, so man yazhab is mubtada khabar. Yuflih is jumla fi'liya, and then the dua in the fi'l here is huwa. So the fi'l and fa'il is a complete sentence here that constitutes the jawab shart in terms of looking at it as a conditional statement. Whatever you might spend will be accepted. Ma yunfik, another one here. So this is whoever and this is whatever. So that's the difference between man and ma. So, okay, so this concept is very important. Man and ma is for human or intelligible beings. It is for non-intelligible beings. Ma tunfik yukbal. Ma tunfik yukbal. Whatever you might spend will be accepted. Okay. Okay, so ma here you can say ma mawsuliya mabniun ala sukun fi mahall rafa mubtada, and then tunfiq is fi'l mudari and the dua is antum. So the fi'l and the fa'il is also fi mahall rafa khabar of ma. And then yuqbal. Now note yuqbal is mabniun, this is u'a. You remember the u'i and u'a. This one yuqbal is fi'l mudari. Okay, but mabniun lil majhul and the naib al fa'il is huwa. The fi'l jumla here also becomes the jawab al-shart. Another example here, waman nu'ammir, waman. So you can see, if I should ask you, where is the fi'l here and jawab shart, you look at the nu'ammir and nunakkis. Okay, nu'ammir and nunakkis. So waman nu'ammirhu nunakkishu fil khalqi. So there's another jumla shartiyya here that tells you that man nu'ammir here is the shart, and you can see nu'ammir is fi'l mudara lightest. So man will be mubtada, nu'ammir will be khabar, okay, and nu'ammir is fi'l mudara. The dua is nahnu, and then who is maf'ul bihi, jumla shartiyya, okay, and then nunakkishu, the same thing, nunakkis, nahnu is the dua here, and it is lightest because it is jumla shartiyya, and it is lightest with this man, okay, man shartiyya, and the dua here is nahnu, and the who is maf'ul bihi. So nunakkis who, and then fil kharki jar majrur MBF, the whole of that is jawab shart. Another use of ma. So here is the use of man, here is the use of ma. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا. This ma here is not a negation ma. Note, I alladhi, alladhi, but shartiyya. Why shartiyya? Because you can see that it has two fi'ils that it works on, and it makes both fi'ils lightest. Okay, so why is atifa ma mawsuliyya b'ma'na alladhi mabniyyun ala sukun fi mahall rafa mubtada. Tafa'alu is fi'l mudari and the dua is antum, and then the fi'il and fa'il in this case becomes the khabar. Or taf'alu min khairin jar majrur MBF, the whole of that becomes the khabar of ma. And then ya'lamhu Allah, who ya'lam is fi'l mudari lightest, who is damir mabni, okay, ala damma fi mahall nasb maf'ul muqaddam, and then Allah is mubtada, fa'il muakhar. Okay, you can see in this case there is an outer file or outside file for ya'lam who, and the who is maf'ul bihi. Okay, and so here it's separated here, wa ma taf'alu min khairin ya'lamhu Allah. Okay, now this is the final aspect where I said that when you can answer a conditional or forbidden statement also without necessarily using the in and man and ma. Similar to a conditional statement, the consequence of a command or forbidden is made majzoom. Okay, it means lightest, that is to indicate its relationship to the command. For instance, aslim yarhamka, aslim, I in taslam yarhamkallah. That's what it means. So when I command you, I'm saying if you do that, then you will receive that. So when I say aslim yarhamkallah, I in taslam yarhamkallah. Okay, sorry, in taslim yarhamkallah. Okay, so aslim is a command. Okay, aslim is a command. Fi'l amr mabni ala sukun, and then when you say fi'l amr, of course fi'l amr is always lightest, and then the command is to anta, and you cannot command the third person. You cannot also command the first person. You can only command the second person. Huwa, huma, hum. Sorry, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, and antun. Okay, so aslim, anta. So fi'il and fa'il. Okay, is in the amr here, and then yarham. Yarham will be the jaza. Okay, jaza ul amr. أي جزاء أن أسلمت يرحمك الله. يرحم هو ك اسم مفعول به. Okay, sorry, not هو. يرحم ك is مفعول به مقدم and Allah is fa'il here. Okay, and the whole of يرحمك Allah becomes the جزاء الأمر. Okay, so it's explained here. أسلم في الأمر فاعله أنت, and then يرحمك الله becomes the جزاء الأمر. Example of this here is here. Nuh alayhi salam is saying, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. فَقُلْتُ, I said, استغفروا أنتم. Are you seeing that? So it's a command to أنتم. استغفروا أنتم. ربكم, رب مفعول مضاف مضاف إليه. إنه, إن, and the ism, okay, constitute the مبتدا. كان غفارا, كان هو غفارا, we constitute the khabar of إنه. So the whole of this statement here becomes the amr. Okay, قلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا. Then يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ويجعل لكم أنهارا becomes the جواب جزاء الأمر. Okay, he is saying that I command you to seek for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, because he is of forgiven. Now when you do that, يرسل السماء, he will not only send down the heavens to you in abundance, he will also going to give you that, 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 give you that. Okay, so it's a consequence of doing that. So that's why istighfar is very important. You just do one istighfar and you get that, you get that, you get that. Okay, so in the above ayah, Nuh alayhi salam explained his da'wah to his people. He commanded them to ask Allah for forgiveness, and as a result, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send them rain, increase them, and provide for them. Right? The command is istaghfiru, and the consequence of that istighfar is what? Yursil wa yumdid wa yaj'al. Okay, the whole of that indicates that it is in all in jazm status. That tells you that they are in jaza al-amr. So we call this, we don't call it jawab shart, we call it jaza al-amr, because there is amr in this case. But in the first one, there is shart. Okay, so we have here shart and it's jaza. Okay, so generally here we have learned about the shart conditional or the conditional statement in Arabic. And that is where we have the fail shart, and then we have the jawab shart. And then fail shart and jawab shart, normally they are fails. Okay, normally fail mudari, lightest, and they are preceded by adawat shart, or the harfs that cause or trigger the condition, that's in or man or ma. And as well, you can also form a command that don't necessarily have the tool, but will also have a condition for that particular command or forbidding. Of course, you can also forbid. Okay, for instance, la tasriq tuflih, do not steal and you will be successful. Do not steal and you will be successful. So I'm forbidding you from doing that. If you agree not to do that, then you will get that. Okay. وَلَا تَمْنُنْ تَسْتَكْثِرْ. Okay, something like that. So a lot of these are in the Quran, and basically we say that is the language of the Quran that we are learning, and we'll find a lot of these inside the Quran. We'll go for a short break, or we'll come back. Inshallah, we'll do some exercises to test our knowledge so far. Inshallah. So stay on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. Okay. There are some questions regarding Idafa. I remember answering some questions on the platform, and some of you would like a quick run on the concept of Idafa. But the concept of Idafa is you just have to practice. You see, these concepts that we have learned, starting from Ism, Fail, Harf, Idafa, Mawsuf, Sifa, Jar, Majrur, if you don't take a conscious effort in going to search for them and see how they apply, just by looking at them once in a book or given the example in a book would not suffice. But what will happen is that you will see that example alone, and you go somewhere and you see other examples or other statements, and you might be thinking that is different. But what do you have to do to get this well seated is, look, we are learning the language of Al-Quran, and all you can do is, go back to your Quran. Anytime you take the Quran, now focus on those things, focus on those concepts, try detecting them, and they will make you, it will be better and better, inshallah. The concept of Idafa is, there are two isms. One have no alif or lam followed by a jar. It simply means that the first ism would be light. Light meaning it's not heavy, okay? It cannot take tanween, it doesn't take tanween, okay? The ism will not take tanween. And then the other second one would be majrur. Now, when I say the second ism will be majrur, note, we are not saying that the second ism would be having alif and lam. I'm saying it's going to be majrur. Majrur means it's an ism, yes, but it's in the status of jar, okay? So this is the only thing you need to understand. But when you come to the meaning of those two isms, then you would be having three different kinds. Okay, three different kinds. One is the one that is having an off in the translation. Okay, like the one a brother was saying that Imam al-Masjid. When I say Imam al-Masjid, I'm saying the Imam of the Masjid, of the mosque. But you see, in English, now it's English now, in English grammar. When you say the Imam of the Masjid, you are just repeating the there. So Imam of the Masjid qualifies to mean the Imam of the Masjid, okay? But grammatically, what we are saying is that the Imam now becomes proper because the Masjid is having alif and lam. So that's it. But in English, when you say Imam of the Masjid, it's proper. It's known. The proper means mu'arraf, okay? But if I say an Imam of a Masjid or Imam of a Masjid, the moment I say of a Masjid, then that Imam becomes indefinite. So to say the Imam of the Masjid is the same as Imam of the Masjid in English. In English content is correct, as well as in Arabic. In Arabic, when I say Imam al-Masjid, what I'm just saying is that I'm just reading it just as when I say Imam al-Masjid or Imam of the Masjid, I'm just looking at it exactly as it came in the Arabic. But the Imam, even though it does not have the al there, or is not definite, doesn't look definite, it is still definite because al-Masjid is definite. So that's the meaning of idafa with an off, okay? Whilst the mudaf ilayhi dictates the type of the mudaf, okay? Now, the question came in Edmodo that the mudaf ilayhi, if it is proper, then the mudaf will be proper. If the mudaf ilayhi is a common, then the mudaf will also be common. For instance, if I say rajulu qaryatin, a man of a village, or I saw ra'aytu rajula qaryatin, if because qaryatin is common, the word rajul becomes also common. So you do not say the man of the village, okay, but a man of a village, okay? So in that case, because qarya is Mudaf ilayh is the mudaf ilayh there is common. But most of the time, the mudaf ilayh, you find it is proper. But you can find it where it is common. If it becomes common, then you translate the mudaf also. Okay. So that's one type. The other type is whenever there is a pronoun attached to an ism. When I say, for instance, madrasatihi, zahabtu ila madrasatihi, I went to his school. Zahabtu ila madrasatihi. So madrasa, majrur, but he is attached to the madrasa. So it becomes mudaf ilayh. The same thing applies. Madrasa is light, no alif and lam, and he is mudaf ilayh, majrur, is in jar status. Okay, but in this case, is a pronoun that is attached to an ism. Okay, and in this case, there is no of in translation. Okay, I'll just say to his school or his place, ila baytihi or ila mahallihi, and so on. Here there's no off in translation, but you can rearrange it actually to give you an off. Where I say, for instance, zahabtu ila madrasatihi, I went to his school, or I went to the school of his. Okay, you can rearrange it to bring you the off. But normally in English, you just put an apostrophe, or you make it a possessive pronoun. Then you say his school. Okay, so this is the second kind of idafa. The last type of idafa is the idafa that does not have off in translation, but it goes with a special mudafs. Okay, for instance, taht al-kursi, under the chair. You don't say under of the chair, but you say under the chair. There is idafa here, and there is idafa with a special mudafs, and that's called zarf. Okay, I hope that is clear for now. With what, Aisha? I've said a lot of things. With what? Oh, okay. Late from the beginning or now? You're talking about the idafa? Yes, yes, yes. What I was trying to mention is that mudaf and mudaf ilayhi are two isms. How do you identify them? If you know the Arabic and you know the English grammar well, then there is a possessive case. Okay. And also, in this context, English is very, very, I should say, lax and not so strong when it comes to the grammar aspect. If you go to the mother language of English language, and that is Latin language, when you go to Latin, you realize that Latin is closer to what we are talking about today, where all these concepts of idafa, mawsuf sifa, jar wa majrur, they have been classified, so you can see them clearly, where you have the nominative, you have accusatives, you have dative, you have ablative, you have adjective, and you realize that a lot of the time it's only adjectives that we know in our normal English. But if you go to Latin, you have these four that I've mentioned earlier on, where nominative means mubtada or a subject, accusative means maf'ul bihi or an object or a done to, and then ablative means any word that comes with for before it. Okay, for. Okay, and then the dative with. So these concepts are a lot more structured in Latin than they are in English. English, they have been bound together and made simpler and easier. But if you want them, you want the similarity of what we're having here in Arabic, where these concepts are well structured and different, then they are closer in the Latin language than in Arabic. Where even in Latin, some of you who know Latin, you realize that the order of the word doesn't matter, unlike in English, as we said. So in Latin, you can move the subject from where it says to the end, even if you bring it to the beginning or to the end or to the middle, because it's also having ending characters. There are certain endings that demarcate a fa'il or a doer or a nominative. There are certain endings that demarcate a maf'ul or what you call accusative. And there are certain endings that demarcate a dative or ablative or mudaf ilayhi and all of those things. Okay. So if you want to look at saying, what does this concept mean in English? You're not going to get it unless Of course, if you have learned Latin, then I can easily share with you and tell you how it works. But with English, a lot of those, concepts have been downplayed, and grammatically, we are not taught those things in English. You see. So yes, if you get it in Arabic, well, you're gonna get it in other the other concepts also. Musa is not a proper name, right? Why is Musa not? Why is Musa not a proper name, Aisha? Aisha, what are you saying? Maybe we should learn. Yes, so I will I can give you a simple example. Let me share something with you here. Okay, let me share something with you here, and then you'll see what I mean. Specifically because of this. Okay, look at this. Look at this. I'm just trying to show you something. So you see, this is Latin for some of you who know Latin. The fail. This is the fail. This is the word loves. Okay, this is a girl. So the girl loves dog. Okay, so for instance, this word love, amat. So puella canem amat. This is subject, object, verb. S is subject, O is object, and V is verb, for instance. Okay, I'm just giving you an instance. Now, the whole of this sentence can be written like this. Okay, the whole of this sentence can be written like this. One moment. Okay, somebody is giving me. Okay, so the whole of this sentence can be written like this. So you see, amat is the fail, the verb, the V. O is the object, the one that received the action of loving. And then puella is a girl. Now, it can be, this comment can come to the beginning, as well as it is having the EM. Now, this EM and then the R here, this R here denotes nominative. This EM denotes accusative. So it doesn't matter where it is seated, it's still the same. Now, look at here, this amat, which is the verb in this case, can come at the beginning, and there's a subject will come in the middle, and then the object, that's maf'ul, will come at the end. It doesn't matter where it sits. As well as it's having the EM, let me italize this. This is having the A for a lady. Every, a feminine word is having an a puella. Okay, I mean, this is one of the rules, and I believe that is also in Hausa, that every word that ends with a is a feminine word. I don't know how it is, but that is one of the things I've learned regarding languages. So in Latin, an ism ending with a is always a feminine. When it ends with us, us, like dominus, it's masculine. So the same thing in Arabic. I'll share that with Arabic for you now. Now, amat, kanem, puella, the same thing. Now, in this case, the object came before the subject, and then this is the verb. And in this case, you have the object, the verb, and the subject. In this case, we have the subject, the verb, and the object. So it doesn't matter how you put the whole of that, the meaning of the things, the sentence still is the girl loves dogs, for instance. Yes, dogs. So it doesn't matter where it is. It's the same thing with Arabic. So for instance, when there is an example that we always give, okay? Qatala Dawood Jalut. Okay, let me give you an instance. So Qatala Dawood Jaluta. Okay, now this sentence, Qatala Dawood Jaluta, in Arabic context, In Arabic context, this is the fi'il, this is the fi'il, this is the V, right? This is the S, and this is the O. So VSO, that is the fi'il or the verb, and this is the subject, and this is the object. So fi'il, fa'il, maf'ul. Now, this particular statement as it is now can, in Arabic, be changed like this. So this katala can even come down. So you can say katala daluta jalut. Okay, katala jaluta dawudu. So as far as the jaluta is always having the nasb status, and the dawudu is always having the rafa status, the meaning is still the same. Okay, the meaning is still the same. In fact, for darura sharia, for a poetic justice, you can even bring the fi'il like this. Okay, you can bring it like this, and it still stays the same. Where Dawood, this word Dawood can come here. Sorry, right? Dawood, Qatala Dawood. So you have Dawood, Dawudu, Jaluta. Okay, and then you have Qatala. Now, as far as this Dawudu and Jaluta, of course, this in normal modern language, it's not allowed, but for poetic justice, it can be allowed, where the meaning of this can still mean the meaning of that, can still mean the meaning. Now, the concept here, or what I'm trying to say is that as far as Daluta is still having the A, and Dawudu is still having the U, it doesn't matter where you put it, the same meaning still maintains that this is the dua, and this is the object, or of course the dua or the subject, and this is the object or the maf'ul or the done to, and this is the fail. So it doesn't matter where you put it. Now that same thing is applicable to Latin language. So this I can turn it so many ways, bring Dawudu or Jaluta at the beginning, Jaluta, Dawudu, Qatala. The meaning will still be the same, you know, in non-classical Arabic, of course, or for poetic reason. Okay, so the concept of word order is very important. The word order does not matter both in Latin and in Arabic, and some of these things are what make the Latin language actually very powerful, because of the endings that it also has. You know, the em is particularly for accusative. The a or us is always for a subject, or what is called the nominative, the doer. Of course, for feminine, and us for masculine, for somebody who knows Latin. So the same thing here. So when we say we are learning the u, a, e of Arabic and how they apply in the Quran, is very, very important for us to understand, so that, you know, the Arabic language shouldn't be so much of a complex thing, but just learn the rules and then try applying, so that at any time you see a word with a rafa, you can know that it's either a state subject or a subject or a doer, for instance, mubtada or khabar or fa'il, for instance. Anytime you see a word with a kisra, you say, well, kisra, you can't have an ism with a kisra normally. Kisra must have been caused by something. So you look behind the word, you realize there's half jar, or there is mudaf that makes it mudaf ilayhi, so it's having jar. Anytime you see an ism with nasb, or in the status of nasb having a fatha, definitely something caused it. An ism cannot take a nasb. By default, every ism is rafa. You know, you need to put this in your mind, so that you'll have this idea that we just don't put the dhamma kasra fatha just like that, but there are reasons for that. Now, if you understand those reasons, then they will apply. So anytime you see ism in jar status, you have to look behind it. Something causes from behind, not from the front. You can't have something causing jar after the word. Mostly is you find it is before it, or something causing it to be light or lightest. It has to be before it. So understanding that concept alone, it's a big leap or a big jump for you in understanding how this language behaves. And generally, as we have always been saying, if you learn the language, the language of Arabic, through this kind of explanation, and the concept is explained to you in detail, it makes it easy to relate to the subject more than you just listening and being told that this is mudaf ilayhi. Just take that as mudaf ilayhi, you memorize it, but you cannot explain what the mudaf ilayhi really means. In fact, if I say mudaf ilayhi, and you are not able to decipher or explain what the concept of mudaf ilayhi is and how does it apply even in my normal English language, then you have the challenge of understanding it. You just memorize it, but then you not know how to share it. Okay, so as I said, we'll have about 10 or 15 minutes to do short exercise. Aisha, this is Latin. No, this is Latin. Okay, the language I shared was Latin. You know, it's part of my specialties. I did languages in Latin, Arabic, and English. Yes. In fact, when you learn the Latin grammar or the Nahu of Latin, Arabic Nahu would make a lot of sense for you or to you. And you realize that in English has really simplified it or broken it and made it simple. And that's why when you learn Latin, you understand the core of English better, you know. So when you do English literature at university level, particularly in Azhar, they tell you that if you're going to do translation, then you need to know translation, of course, English, Arabic, Arabic, English. Then you need to know the mother language of English, and that is Latin. And when you go there and you learn the grammar, then you see how you can really compare it with Arabic, and then it becomes easy for you to understand. Okay. Good. I would like us to do a quick revision now that we have finished all the concepts before we take some slides at the end of this particular session. So sharpen your fingers. You are going to be answering some questions now. Please participate because we are going to do a quick rundown and the questions will be coming. So get ready. Are you ready? Are you ready to share with me some of the things that you have learned? Please, if you are ready, say so. Say you are ready, so we go. I will start giving you the questions, giving me the answers, and then we would see how what we have really picked from the lessons so far. When we defined Nahu, what did we say the definition of Nahu is? I gave you a simplified definition of Nahu. What did we say? Put it in your own words. What did we say a Nahu is? In a simple form, you would be able to tell anyone. What is the study of Nahu? Yes, so I'm not the one, I'm not alone in the class, I hope. So I hope you are typing. Yes, yes, I can see some of you typing. Good. What is Nahu? Don't type exactly what I in your own understanding of how we simplify the understanding of this subject. What will you say the knowledge or the study of Nahu is? Mm-hmm. And I don't want only the conventional contributors to the class. Everybody must contribute today. If you don't, I will call your name. I will call your name. And I have all the names here. The only way you can avoid me is for you to log out and say it's a network problem. Okay. What is Nahu? Okay, I can see one of the answers I've just entered, ending sounds and ending combination. Yes, yes, you can say that. Study of the ending sound of an ending combination of words. Very good. That is good. That is good. It's not bad, Aisha. Thank you very much. Any other? I'm waiting. What is Nahaw? What do you understand Nahaw to be, or the study of Nahaw? You realize that if you have to wait and say you are going back to the book and type, and by the time you come, we are done. Study of word relationship. I like that one. I like that one too. Very good one. Study of word relationship. Word relationship. I like that concise one. That means if you check the ending sound and the ending combination of a word, it will tell you the relationship between those words and the neighboring ones. I believe that understanding is what we shared. So the first thing is for you to look at the ending sound or ending combination of the word, and then you look at the relationship. That will tell you the relationship between it and all neighboring words. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Very good. The last one. I need one other. The structure of the language. Yes. Study of the structure of the language is also one. Very good. So how the language is structured. For instance, if anytime I have a fail, I know there should be a fa'il and maf'ul, for instance, right? Anytime I see an ism starting a sentence, I know there is a mubtada khabar. Yes, that is also one of the ways to identify the relationship of words in a sentence. Yes, very good. Yes, these are all very good attempts. You see, this is one of the things that I have shared always, that if you have studied Nahu and you are not able to communicate or transfer that knowledge to another in your own words, then what S.A.I.D Academy is doing is to give you that impetus to be able to say, look, I can share with you what I know about this subject and this how it is. You know, the majority of us will learn Nahu from Makaranta, and it's only for you. You can't transfer the knowledge. Mostly that's how I have taught now, as I've always been saying, but I've come to realize that the way we teach them now, because of the curriculum and because of the methodology, it's always been personalized. So the student takes it and finish. He can't transfer. It's very difficult for him to teach another. Why? Because a lot of the time, the concepts of all those different topics are not well explained. Even if they are explained, they are not well taken by the learners. And this is what we are trying to avoid now and try to make it easier for everybody. Hafiz Ibrahim says, study of the status and grammatical structure of the language. Yes, bringing the word status is very important here. Very good, very good. Yes, so we are trying to say that getting to know the status, of course, the status is part of the ism. So when you say status, number, gender, or the SNGT of an ism, okay? And then also trying to know the kind of sentences that are in every statement. So study of the, or study of knowing status and grammatical structure of Arabic language is also not bad. Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's go detail the structure of the language. What did we say the structure of the language Arabic is? Grammatical structure of the language. What is it made up of? We said it made up of 3 stratas. What are those stratas? What and what and what? We said Arabic language, the structure of the language itself is made up of 3 stratas. What are they? There are 3, actually. I've just given you one tip. Yes, it's ism, fi'il, harf. Very good. Ism, fi'il, ism, yes, ism, fi'il, and harf. Very good. Very good. By the way, you can always give me the abbreviation. And you know, in this course, we have learned a lot of abbreviations, right? So if you say IFH, I.F or I, I, yes, I like that. You can do that. It's acceptable. At this level, yes, it's acceptable. Okay. Ism, fi'il, and harf. What is common between ism and fail? And make a harf different. What is common? If you are told something is common between ism and fail, that harf does not have, what is it? I'm not going to ask you definitions. I'm just going to see how best you understood this concept. What is common between ism and fail that is not with harf? Name, okay. Aisha, what do you mean by name? Yes, very good, Amina. But what about meaning? What about it? What do you? Yes. What about meaning? Yes, ism and fails have meaning standing alone. Very good. I like that. So both of them have meaning in them. So an ism would have a meaning in itself and can stand alone. I like that one. Yes. But harf has no meaning in itself. It cannot stand alone. They have both meaning, but harf needs help. Yes, I like that one. Harf will always need help. But for instance, you can say kelbun and it's understood. Kelbun is understood. You can say kitabun and it's understood. We can say dakhala and it's understood. Okay? But you cannot say li, harf jar, for instance. Li. And nobody will understand. It has no meaning. It doesn't stand alone. It cannot be understood unless you bring any ism or fail to it. And that's very, very important. I hope that is clear, Aisha. Okay, very good. Now, let's go to the second strata. The second, so ism fail harf is, hey, am I really correct? Did we answer this thing correct? What was my question? I asked about the three stratas of the structure of the language, but the answer is wrong, actually. The answer you gave me was wrong. The answer you gave me was wrong because the question I asked was, what are the three different stratas of the language? I didn't say what are the kinds of words, or is that what I said? Who can help me? Because I think that wasn't what I said. Asma. Okay, Asma, what did we say? Aywa, sorry. Yes, Asma. Yes, Asma actually gave us the right answer because I am having a series of questions in mind. So I realized it doesn't tally. Asma gave us the right answer. So it's actually not ism fail harf. Ism fail harf is sitting on the first strata. Okay? Ism fail harf is sitting on the first strata, but I'm talking about the structure of the language itself. The structure is made up of the words, the fragments, and the sentences. So it is at the word level that we have the ism fail harf. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear for everybody. But of course, the answers you gave regarding ism fail harf is correct. I hope you are all clear with me in this case that Asma was right. That we are talking about the kalima, murakkabat naqisa, and jumla. Right? These are the three different stratas of the language. That's the structure. Yes, very good. Now that we agree. Now we have just discarded the first strata, which is the word level. The word level has ism, fail, and harf. MashaAllah. Very good. Now let's go to the second strata. The second strata is made up of the fragments. What are the fragments? Quickly, what are the fragments? What are the fragments? How many are they? What? I'm sure if I say how many are they, you can give me the answer sharp. But I'm asking what? Yes, Amina. Yes, there are 5. What are they? Yes, Sakina. Hey, Sakina, you have been here. MashaAllah. Okay, Alpha. What are they? 5 fragments. What are they? No, you can't give me one after the other. You have to give everything. Else you will be telling others how to do it. Inna and the sisters. Aisha, what about the sisters? Where are the brothers? I need the fragments. Give me all the 5 fragments. Give me the 5 fragments. Idafa, Mawsuf, Sifa, half of jar, half of nasu, ishara. Oh, mashallah. That's quite sharp. Okay? So Idafa is 1. Mawsuf, Sifa, you mean Mawsuf, not Mawsud. Mawsuf, Sifa is 1. Half of jar and the ism is 1. Half of nasb and the ism is, half of jar and jar majrur is 1. Half of nasb and the ism is 1. Ism shar ilay. is another. Very good, very good. Asma says idafa, mawsuf, sifa, ism al-ishara, mushar ilayhi. You have to mention both ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi, not ism al-ishara alone. Okay, and then inna and its ism, and then harf jar and its majroor. I hope that is here. Hey, Amina, this one there is this coding system. J and M like Jomama or what? What is this? Here, you know, when you say JM, it's like Jomama. So jar and majroor. Okay, I can understand it as jar and majroor. And then ism. What is I and M? I have to go to this class, so I'm in Hassan. But anyway, I can see you giving me wahid, it means talata, arba, khamsa. Okay, so you mean inna and the ism, and then I'm sure if I come to your class, I'm in Hassan, this coding, I'll come and learn them more. But alhamdulillah, Aisha says sifa mawsuf, idafa, inna and her sisters, asma al-ishara and mushar ilayhi, harf jar and ism majrur. What of kana? Very good. I like the question. Yes, kana and the sisters are not fragments. Okay, kana and the sisters are not fragments. Okay, kana and the sister is not considered fragment. Who can tell me why is it not considered fragment? Who can tell me this? Why is kana and the sisters? Because Aisha is asking why kana and the sister are also not fragment. Who can tell me why they cannot be considered fragment? I think I did mention it some time back. I said fragments are related to isms. Okay, fragments are related to isms. But what did we say kana is? What is kana? Kana, is it an ism or a fi'l? Yes, kana is a fi'l. Absolutely, yes. So it takes it off the fragment system. I hope you are clear, Aisha. Yes, yes. Jazakallah khair. Okay. Okay, yes, fi'l madi naqis. You're right. Okay, very good. So now we have seen the fragments. Can you categorize the fragments into two? And what are those two categories of the fragments? How did we categorize them so that we will understand them well? What are the categories of the field? Sorry, of the fragments. Fragments, we said they're of two categories. What are they? Who can remember? These are some of the easy ways to get it, you know, the concept accepted or learned quickly from learners. If you're able to put them in this table form, in this structure, it makes it easy. I know I have the ism fi'l harf, I know I have all the 5 fragments, and later we'll look at the sentences. And then you know that the fragments are 5, but they are of 2 categories. Should I say it, or you're going to tell me? Who is telling me the 2 categories of fragments? There are 2. Okay, I have 5 seconds to do that. If you cannot help me, for the sake of time, I will move on. I'm expecting some people to be typing by now, but it looks as if the steam is, even type it, even if it is wrong. Because some of you should note, these things we are learning, none of us is expected to be perfect. Some of you go into Edmodo and you answer the questions perfectly, but you have some mistakes, either typo from myself or from my team, and then you come out crying, shouting. You are not actually supposed to score 100%, by the way. It's not meant for you to spend 100%. We are not perfect, and so we don't expect that we really do that. Okay, those with harf and those with ism. Asma, very good attempt there. Yes, so we have isms and harf isms. Yes, they are divided into 2. How many of them are harf isms and how many of them are ism? Who can tell me? These are the 2 categories. Fragments are made up of isms and harf isms. What does it mean? Or what are they? Believe me, that's the only way we would be able to get this concept well seated. We need to just, put them in that kind of tables, in that kind of understanding. We have jar wa majroor, and jar wa majroor is harf ism, right? Yes. Okay, there are some attempts here. 2 are ism, and 3 are harf ism. Okay. اختلف العلماء. This one is saying harf isms are 2 and isms are 3. Okay, can you justify yourselves? Okay, that's a very good attempt. But can you justify? Asma is saying idafa and mawsuf sifa are isms. Okay. And then what? Idafa and mawsuf sifa are isms. Okay. And then harf, okay, Aisha is saying harf ism is inna and the sisters, and jar wa majroor. Do you agree with her, Asma? If you agree with her, then we are good to go. MashaAllah. Okay, very good. So it's actually, we are having harf ism, jar wa majroor, and inna and the sisters. So inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, lakinna, layta, la'alla. Anytime you see any of these words with the ism after it, that makes it what? That makes it a fragment, right? That is one. And then jar wa majroor, the batakala wa min fi an ala hatta ila. Whenever you see any of that with an ism in front of it, it's another fragment, right? So this is one type. And then when you have the ism, mudaf, mudaf ilay, both of them are isms. Okay, mudaf, mudaf ilay, both of them are ism. The first one is light, no alif or lam. The second one is majroor. Okay, that's idafa. Mawsuf sifa, both of them are isms having the same status, number, gender, type. The status, the number, the gender, and the type of both isms are the same. So if this one is marfu, this one is marfu. If this mansub, this mansub. If this majroor, this majroor. If this nakira, this nakira. If this is mu'arraf, this one is also mu'arraf. If this is masculine, that is mudhakkar. The other one is also masculine, mudhakkar. If that one is mu'annas, the other one is also mu'annas. If there is singular, mufrad, the other one is mufrad, and so on. That is mawsuf sifa. Okay, so identifying mawsuf sifa is always very easy. And then you have the ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi, which is ism, because ism al-ishara is ism. Hada, hadani, haula'i, hadihi, tilka, and ulaika, and so on. Anytime you see that with an ism, with alif and lam in front of them, then we have ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi. Both of them are isms. Okay, so idafa, mawsuf sifa, and ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi, the 3 fragments are ism fragment. Very good. Thank you very much for your contributions. Now, there is something I want to share with you with regards to idafa. I think I did not share this, but it's actually in advanced Nahaw. But I would like to bring it here quickly. And that is if you want to point at mudaf ilayhi. Idafa, whenever you want to point at it, how do you point at mudaf ilayhi? For instance, let me share my screen with you quickly so that we look at this concept. It's very important that I mentioned it here because it can catch up with you somewhere. Now, what concept is this, for instance? What concept, which of the fragments is this? Which of the fragments is this, and who can tell me this? Which of the fragments is that? Okay, very good. Okay, so it is idafa. Which one is the mudaf ilayhi and which one is the mudaf? Which one is the mudaf and which one is the mudaf ilayhi? Kitab is mudaf and okay, so of course, if kitab is mudaf and then so ustaz becomes mudaf ilayhi. Very good. Very good. Yes, kitab is mudaf. Very good. Now, how do you, what is the meaning of this statement? How do you translate it? How do you, yes, translate it. Thank you very much, Shaban. Ishaq and Aisha. Yes. How do you translate this statement? The book of the professor. Yes, the book of the ustaz. Okay. Okay. The book of the ustaz. Thank you. Very good. So let me do this quickly. I just want us to share this. The book. Book of the teacher. Good. Now, if you want to point at it, how do you point at this? Before we do that, let me also share with you how Ismul Ishara and Mushar ilayhi appears. ذلك الكتاب. When the Quran said ذلك, okay, ذلك ذلك الكتاب. How do you translate this? Very good. So it's that book. That book. Good. Now, this is what I want us to look at now. Sorry. Okay. Now, you see the translation of that book. You can see that you are pointing at the book. Okay? You are pointing at the book. Now, I want you to point at this particular book. How do you say that in Arabic? Point at this. Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I had a trip of my network. So, okay, we are back. I can't follow. Everything has gone off now. So you have to start typing again. Where were we? This is what I was asking. I just want to explain this concept of idafa for us. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, please? Very good. Okay. You see, we said ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. And then we translated it as that book, correct? Okay. Now we are pointing actually at this. So we are pointing at this. Of course, you also know that that particular statement at the top and this one, how do you translate this? How do you translate that? You know, one day all of you will be hosts. So don't worry. If you start being hosts, don't be running away, okay? It's just a privilege that we are also here. One day we'll not be here, inshallah, so that others will take over. Okay, so sorry, the line keeps on tripping. Okay, So let's explain this. ذَلِكَ كِتَابٌ. What is the difference between this statement and that? So how do you translate ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابٌ? Okay, Aisha says that's a book. So grammatically, what do you say the difference between ذَلِكَ الْكِتَاب and ذَلِكَ كِتَاب? What do you say the difference between the two? So how the first is a fragment, yes. ذَلِكَ كِتَابٌ is what? The second is a sentence. Absolutely correct. Very good. Now, with that understanding, Kitabul Ustadhi. See, Kitabul Ustadhi. Is it a sentence? Yes or no? So Kitabul Ustadhi is a sentence, you are saying, Aisha. Asma says it's a fragment. How do you determine that it's a fragment? These are some of the questions. How do you determine it's a fragment? Why is it not a sentence? There are two words here, and there are two words also here. How do you determine? How do you conclude that it's not a sentence? Okay, why is it so? You need to be able to, yes. Okay, yeah, so because it consists of mudaf and absolutely, yes. Very good. Now I like that question. Now you are sounding as someone who can really teach another person. Yes, it's a possessive case. So what you are saying is that Kitabul Ustaz, the book of the teacher, actually doesn't complete a sentence. It's more than a word, yes, but it's not a sentence. And so it's a fragment. What about it? Okay, what about it? That question will always come. If the meaning of a fragment, one of the meanings that we said of a fragment is that it is more than one word, but less than a sentence. So if it's less than a sentence, that means it really doesn't make a concept or doesn't make a meaning as a statement. Okay, good. Now, I want us to point at this particular sentence. So in Arabic, so I want you to say, this book of the Ustaz. This book of the Ustaz. How do you say that? And that's the concept of pointing at mudaf ilayh. How do you point at it in Arabic? What would you say? And it's a major concept actually in Arabic language, but a lot of the time we make mistake of it because we don't. The concept is a very simple concept, but we just need to be guided. Yes. So hada kitabul ustad. Very good. So for instance, Aisha is saying hada kitab al-ustad. Hada kitabul ustad. No, see, in Nahu, you have to tell me the wasali, the last character. What is it? Is it E, R, or U? Or sukun? What you are giving me is sukun, and ism can never stick a sukun. Kasra. Okay. Hada kitab al-ustad. Now, this statement, is it a sentence or a fragment? Is it a sentence or a fragment? Yes, it's a sentence. It's a sentence. Okay? It's a sentence. Now note, I want, you are not, I don't want you to point at it as a sentence. I want you to point at this, and is this remaining a fragment? So it can still be a fragment without it being a sentence. So I just want you to point at this, but don't make it a sentence. So this is a sentence. So this one, for instance, is not Ismul Ishara and Mushar Ilayhi. You are not making Mushar Ilayhi to this, but I want you to make this Ashir ila hada. So in Arabic, Hada al-Kitab, you see now, you have started thinking, Asma. Very good. You have started thinking that, yes, I can really point at it without necessarily making it a sentence. But Hada al-Kitab al-Ustaz, there is something of a challenge here. When you say Hada al-Kitab, so if you put Alif and Lam here, so what you are saying is that this book, the teacher, no, that's not what I want. What I want you to do is, okay, let me help you with the English. It's actually still a fragment. It's not a sentence. This is what I want you to say. Let me tell you in English. This book of the teacher, this is not a sentence, right? Or is this a sentence? Now, this is what I want you to tell me in Arabic. So I want you to tell me this in Arabic, but this is not this. This is different. This, what you are saying is that this book, because it cannot be of the teacher, Aisha. It cannot be of the teacher, okay? Because in Idafa, this has to be what? Light. Do you remember that? It's becoming complicated now. Do you remember that in Idafa, the mudaf must be light? Haza kitabul Islam. That is a sentence. That is what we mentioned at the beginning. That's a sentence. Haza kitabul Ustad is a sentence. That's removing this. If you remove this, it becomes Hada Kitabul Ustaz. This is okay. So let me do this for the sake of better explanation. Let's do this. Okay. If you do that, okay, sorry. Okay. This is the book of the teacher. This is what you said. So this is a sentence. I don't want it as a sentence. I still want it a fragment. This is a book. This is, okay, I said this book of the teacher. Yes, this book of the teacher. No, when you said this book of the teacher, so this book of the teacher is not what you are saying. What you said here is not this book of the teacher, because this book of the teacher must not have an alif and lam. That's what I'm trying to explain. Book of the teacher, the book must not have alif and lam, so that that concept will stay. But I just want you to say that this book of the teacher, whilst book of the teacher is Kitabul Ustaz, then this would have to come. And so in Arabic, Hada al-Kitab li-Ustaz. Okay, I like the try, Asma and Shaban. Hada al-Kitab li-Ustaz is, let me write what you said. Hada, these are some of the things that will help us. In learning the grammar, your Arabic will become better. Okay, so when you say هذا الكتاب لأستاذ, sorry, هذا الكتاب لأستاذ, what you said is, in translation, this book is for a teacher. This is what you said. And that's not what I want you to say. This is a sentence. Okay? هذا كتاب الأستاذ. This, okay. You see, هذا كتاب الأستاذ is what we said here. Okay, let me also write that one. هذا okay. هذا كتاب الأستاذ. The Ustaz, what wasali is there? Help me. هذا كتاب Asma, I'm on yours now. Kasra, okay. هذا كتاب الأستاذ. Okay. Now, in this case, this is what you said. This is the book of the teacher. This is the book of the teacher. Okay, that's what you said here. This is what I want us to say. This book of the teacher. This book of the teacher is not a statement, it's still a fragment. The only way you can say that is in Arabic, kitab hada. I like that. No, that's not what you said, Aisha. هذا الكتاب الأستاذ. Sorry. Okay, this one is not supposed to be here. Supposed to take this one off. What you said here is, this is what you said, Aisha, just to be clear. This book, هذا الكتاب الأستاذ. This book, the teacher. That's what you said, Aisha, just to translate it well. This book, the teacher, because you cannot have an off here. You can't have an off here. Why? Because this one is having al. I hope that is clear, Aisha. Yes, so that's what you said, though. This one, if you say this in Arabic, that's exactly what you are saying. This book, the teacher, that's what you said. Okay, good. Okay. هذا كتاب. Okay, you mean that, not what you mean. Okay, well, that's not what you meant. Let's look at Shaban. Shaban, he said هذا كتاب أستاذ. هذا كتاب. Is that what you are saying? هذا كتاب or كتاب? Shaban Muhammad, are you saying hada kitabu or hada kitabun? It depends on what you say. The meaning will hada kitabu, okay. And then usta, is it zu or zun or zi or za? Shaban, ustazin. Very good. I like that. Okay. Hada kitabu ustadin. هذا كتاب أستاذ. I like this one. This is what you said. This is a book of a teacher. This is a book of a teacher. You see why this is a book? A book of a teacher. That this is idafa. Some of you earlier on when I was mentioning idafa, where the mudaf ilayhi is common. This is an example of it. But this is what this means. This is a book of a teacher. But that's not what I want us to say. I want us to say this book of the teacher. I'm just pointing up the book of the teacher. This book of the teacher is what I'm looking for instance. So this book of the teacher. No, Aisha, where did you say that? Where? Tell me the Arabic statement where you said that. هذا الكتاب الأستاذ is what you said, right? Okay, where? Where is it? Which one? This is what you said. Am I correct? Is that correct? Is that what you said? I just want us to brainstorm here. Yes. Now, if this is what you said, this is what is translated as what you said. In Arabic, this is what you said. هذا الكتاب الأستاذ means this book. This is this book. The teacher. This is the teacher. So there is this one is up. This one is not a correct Arabic statement, by the way. Are we clear now? هذا كتاب. Oh, sorry, Shaban, can you give me the wasali? I don't like in now. You have to make sure you give me the wasali, okay? So let's write what you said. هذا. You know, we are learning, so don't worry of what we are doing. That's how we get the concept well seated. هذا كتاب ba bi bu ban bin bun. هذا كتاب Aisha, I will tell you what I want to hear. I will tell you what I want to hear. هذا كتاب الأستاذ or the or zu or then الأستاذ the. Okay. هذا كتاب الأستاذ. I think we have seen this before. هذا كتاب الأستاذ is here, and we've translated it here. That this is the book of the teacher. So this is a sentence, this is not a fragment. Okay, you said sorry, kitabi. Okay, hada kitabi. Hada kitabi. Hada kitabi al-ustazi. This you can't have it. This cannot be. I'm sorry. You have even gone a little bit out. Now, this is how you point to idafa. It's a very simple way. If you want to point to any idafa, pointing at it, when I say point at it, I mean you make it al-mushar ilayhi. But in this case, the mushar ilayhi does not have alif and lam, but the mushar ilayhi is a whole idafa concept. If you want to have mudaf ilayhi pointing at it, all you have to say is you take that haza ism al-ishara, you send it to the end. That's what translates this. So if you want to say this book of the teacher, for instance, this book of the teacher, for instance, if you want to say it in English, this book of the teacher is what I was looking for. Kitab al-ustaz hadha alladhi abhas anhu. So you say Kitab al-ustaz hadha. So you realize that Kitab al-ustaz is still mudaf ilayhi. Hadha is just pointing at it. No, Rayhan, هذا كتاب الأستاذ is a sentence. It's not a fragment. So when you say كتاب الأستاذ هذا, you are pointing at the book. You have not made a statement. Okay? So basically, that's what I wanted to share with you. So all you have to say is كتاب الأستاذ. All you have to say is كتاب الأستاذ هذا. كتاب. Sorry. Kitabul Ustazi. You see, the idafa has come. And then you bring your hada here. That is al-mushar ilayhi. So in this case, this is your ismul ishara, and the mushar ilayhi has come before it. So you are actually pointing at book of the ustaz. In this case, this particular statement is proper, but not with alif and lam. And the pointer is at the end. In Arabic, if you want to point at mudaf ilayhi or mudaf ilayhi concept, this is exactly what is said. Okay? So if you want to say, for instance, Aisha hazihi. Aisha hazihi. Aisha hazihi. Hiya allati sabbatni. Okay? Aisha's mother, or this mother of Aisha is the one who insulted me, for instance. Okay? So if I want to point at her and I want to make her, or I want to point at idafa in Arabic, what we do is you take the ism al-ishara, you throw it to the end. Finish. I hope that is clear. Anyway, let's take a short break. And oh, sorry, our time is up.
When we come tomorrow, inshallah, but at least it's a good exercise today for us to learn some of the things that make this language a little bit interesting. Okay, mainly our understanding of the ending sound, ending combination, and how they relate to each other. Understanding our fragments, our sentences. Of course, we didn't talk about the sentences, but the sentences are of two types: jumla ismiya and fi'liya. And we said the jumla ismiya is made up of, what are the components of jumla ismiya? Quickly, what are the components of jumla ismiya? I've taken you through some exercises this morning. What are the components of jumla ismiya? What did we say? Fi'il, fa'il, maf'ul, and there is one other that always comes. What is it? Yes, this is the general. This, I know some of you are waiting for me to explain this concept of muta'alliq bifa'il, and a question in Edmudo. When somebody gets Edmudized, it becomes he shivers because it's actually taking a point away. But generally, we say fi'il, fa'il, maf'ul is what is expected. Okay. In every jumla ismiya, mubtada, khabar, MBK, khabar or MBK. The reason why we say khabar or MBK is that, you know, you can have a sentence with without a khabar being there, but the MBK stands for the khabar. Okay. Yes. Yes. So I said ismiya. Ismiya is jumla. What did I say about ismiya? Alpha Shaban, what did I say about it? Yes, Ismiya has Mubtada, Khabar, MBK, and Fi'liya has Fi'il, Fa'il, Maf'ul, MBF. But when I say generally, we are looking to a Mubtada, Fi'il, Fa'il, Maf'ul, it's correct, or Mubtada and Khabar, it's correct, okay? But the core ones, now listen, let me give you this one information. What you cannot do without is the Mubtada and the Khabar. Sorry, the Mubtada must be there. The Fi'il and Fa'il must be there. Okay? So if you have a Mubtada without a Khabar, you are just mentioning the ism. If you bring the Khabar, it makes sense. But if you can bring a Fi'il and Fa'il, sorry, if you can bring a Fi'il, the Fi'il will consist the Fa'il in itself. Okay? So Mubtada, Khabar, very important for a Jumla Ismiya to stand. Fi'il, Fa'il, very important for Jumla Ismiya to stand, because not every fi'il, as we learned in Mabni lil Majhul, that must have a maf'ul bihi, right? I hope we are clear with that. Any question on that? So generally, that's what we have learned about our course, and Alhamdulillah, I'm sure I'm sure we have picked home some things today. Tomorrow we'll do a summary, and I will show you some tricks that you can use, particularly some of you who would like to be typing Arabic language with your systems, and some of the things that you need to activate to ensure you have good characters as you want them. Sometimes you want to be typing Arabic, and then you don't see it's all Arabic. Sometimes you type the figures you are typing Arabic, but the figures are appearing in English. Or your Excel sheet is supposed to be from right to left, but it is left to right. How do you do all those things? Inshallah, we'll learn some of those things tomorrow. And some of the symbols that are in Arabic that have shortcuts. If you want to make them have a shortcut installed on your keyboards, how do you do it? For instance, when you want to type Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and it comes in that design of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that we always see in the Quran or some of the books, where the Sallah will be at the top, Allah will be in the under it, and then it will be a design, something like that. Some of those symbols are already embedded in our Office suite. All we have to do is to identify them and then know their codes. By typing their codes, you should be able to do that. Or you will assign a shortcut to them, so that anytime you type Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or anytime you type certain character, you just assign that character to it and say, anytime I type this character, it means Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will always appear in that format without necessarily you doing any design and so on. And then also we then know how to activate your Arabic, how to enable your operating system to be Arabic enabled, so that you'll be able to type Arabic, and how to understand what enabling an operating system is, and the difference between that and enabling your Word or Office application to be able to type Arabic as you want. Aisha says components of Jumla Ismiya are Mubtada, Khabar, or MB. Okay. Mubtada, Khabar, or Mubtada. Mubtada and Muta'alliq bi Khabar. Is this correct? Component of fi'l. Jumla fi'la is fi'l fa'il. Yes, it's correct. It's Mubtada, Khabar, or MBK. But this is fi'l fa'il. Yes, correct. Because we can have Mubtada and MBK without the Khabar. For instance, when you say Al-Rajulu fi dar, Al-Rajulu fi dar, Al-Rajulu, of course, Al-Rajulu fi dari, because I'm teaching now. So I have to make it like that. Al-Rajulu fi dari, the man is in the house. So Al-Rajulu is Mubtada, and fi dari is jar wa majrur muta'alliq bi khabar. Yes, the khabar is not there, but so the taqdir is that Al-Rajulu mawjudun fi dari. Okay. Yes, and for Jumla fi'liya is fi'l fa'il. Correct. You can say that. These are the core ones. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so very much for coming. Tomorrow we'll have a summary of everything, and we'll conclude our sessions. For some of you who have participated in the October session, inshallah, today you will be having the results for some of you who did so well. Hopefully, some of your names, if some of you are here, if some of your names will appear, and there are some incentives of data for you, as well as the certificates for those who have 80% and above on the Edmodo. Now, you see, when you get the 80% and above, what it simply means is that I have confidence in you that one day I will just call on you and say, look, I have some students for you to teach the basic Nahaw within the English content. Please, your name appeared in our records at S.A.I.D Academy that Assalamu alaikum, I'm back. And today it's not, some people have been sent to me. Okay, anyway, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus. I think I saw a question coming in. Aisha, were you asking a question? I thought I saw something like a question coming in. Cool. Aisha Ibrahim, I think you wanted to ask a question. Two types of what? What is two types of come? What is that, Aisha? I don't understand your question. We have not learned come. Come is a topic of tamyiz, and we have not taken tamyiz yet. No, we have not taken tamyiz in this course. And maybe in your advanced Nahaw, we'll learn that, okay? Yes, yes. Come is part of, when you learn the topic of tamyiz, then you learn how it works. It's also, yes, it can use to ask a question, but that word it's used to ask for a quantity or price or cost of something. That is not istifham, okay? That is not part of the istifham that we took. But inshallah, we would I'm sure when you look at the topic of tamyiz, you will find it there and how it applies, okay? ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت اقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. And as I said, your Edmodo questions will be uploaded today, and everything you should get it today. Please work on them. For some of you who have started and are doing so very well, continue doing that, and the result for the October session would appear today, I'm sure, if Sharifa has finished working on it, we should be able to get